And it's 7 o'clock now. Yay! It's officially my time slot. Even though I've been sat here for like 30 minutes already. I mean, you've been sat here for 20 minutes with me. So I really don't get like this guy who's supposed to be in front of me. I make the same joke every week. He's not a real person. Clearly, like something's got like there's no he's they've gone through the effort of like actually uploading an image to be on the website, but there's no Instagram page. There's nobody in the URF Discord server. I really don't know what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
why would you go through all that effort not to just completely not use your show?
Yeah.
I mean, I use my show. I'm enjoying it. I've got you on now. Why don't you introduce yourself?
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Warren. I'm currently a third-year university student at the University of California, Irvine, in Greater Los Angeles. Alex and I have been best mates all throughout primary and secondary school, and now that we've both graduated from the same cohort, we still keep in touch all the time and hang out. It's awesome.
Let's not mention how many years specifically we've known each other, because that's just going to make me feel old. I mean, we're both nearly 21 at this point. What are we
Yeah,
what are
yeah,
we doing?
yeah, that's true. I mean, you're turning 21 soon, next month.
Yeah, just a couple weeks away, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it feels like when you're a kid, you're like no, you're counting when somebody asks you how old you are. Like, no, I'm actually six and a half. I'm not six.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
definitely.
now it's like no, I'm clinging on to the fact that I'm still 20 years old until I actually hit the age of 21.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's basically like how going up to the next number is less exciting than it
yeah.
used to be.
I mean, 20 that's a milestone. That's 2 decades.
I think so, yeah.
You see
I
the
feel like
number at the
20 to
start change.
21, 20 to 21 is a big jump. It's a huge milestone.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the United States, you get to drink. Well, you get to legally
Yeah,
drink at 21, but
legally.
I
Yeah,
think I think we both know pretty much everybody's getting up to that anyway over there.
yeah, yeah,
We get a lot of American because my University of Sussex, uh, we get a lot of exchange students because we have like an absurdly long list of universities that we have exchange programs with,
yeah, yeah,
especially in the United States. So we get a lot of Americans out here, and they're always like, normally they come over for their exchange like for 6 months, because if you do a full year, then it just means you have to do an extra year of college. But if you only
yeah,
do 6 months, that's just one of your terms in a given year, so it just works out way better.
yeah,
But they always come over here and they're like, oh, we've been sitting around not being able to legally drink in the United States, and then we finally turn 21, and then we go to the UK where you can just drink at 18 anyway.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you do you guys have a lot of like we've I mean drinking culture, like sort of pub culture, is a big thing in the UK. Do you get much of that over in the States or?
Um, well, I haven't really been to much of that since starting uni, but I'm sure it's a thing. It's just that I feel that like here everything like the country's so big, like everything's so spread out. So I'm like my college campus is located sort of in like a suburb.
Yeah.
It's more of a suburban region. So it's kind of there's not really that much going on here besides academics and school. So like if you drive out to other parts of town, I feel like there'll be more, especially closer to like downtown LA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then there'll be much more going on
Do you
there in terms of like bars and stuff. Yeah.
do you have like good public because like if you're going to a bar in the United States, you've
Yeah.
probably brought your car with like you have to drive there, right? Because everything's
Yeah.
like there's no
Yeah.
so but then you can't drink and
Or you
drive.
have a
So
friend or something. Yeah.
yeah, there's Ubers and stuff, I suppose.
There's Ubers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that,
That
that
works
but
too.
that can quickly sort of rack up on prices.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's expensive. Yeah.
I mean, you're learning to drive now, or have you got your license?
So I got my license. So once I turned 18 back home in Hong Kong, I realized I didn't really have enough time to apply for one there
Yeah.
before starting uni. So I started I started taking a bunch of lessons though. that summer after graduating. But I waited till first year of uni, and I did like a refresher with like an instructor here, because obviously like driving overall is much the same, but the I guess the road the road signs, the kind of the system of driving here, the roads and stuff are slightly different, especially
Um,
driving on the other side of the car or
it,
the other side of the road,
that
however you
must
want
that
to see
must
it.
take some adjustment. I mean, for me at least, thankfully,
Yeah,
right? Like, Hong Kong and the UK, I mean, there's a lot of overlap between stuff in Hong Kong and the UK,
there
which is
is.
very helpful for me.
Okay.
Like, we drive on the same side of the road.
Yeah.
My favorite thing, and you're probably going to get annoyed at me because I don't have to do the same thing that you probably do. We have the
Okay.
same type of plug. The
Yeah.
out, and it's the best. It's the best. Like a lot of British people will say the same thing as me. Right?
Okay,
They are
that's
not
nice.
patriotic at all until it comes to the sockets that they use because they're the best.
Fuck. Yeah, they're the best.
They are.
I love the type of plugs I use all the time back home. Then when I come over here, I have to make sure I've got enough adapters.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm kind of. Otherwise, it's not good.
I
I
mean,
can't
I mean
really use
that's
them.
one of those things that people are always like it's not one of those things you'd first think about, right, when you're moving countries to go to university. But then it's
Yeah,
just one of those like smaller details. Like you get there and then you're obviously like, yeah, I have to go buy cooking, like I have to go buy dishware and stuff. I have to buy cooking equipment. You know,
yeah.
I still don't have a pot. I've This is my third year in the UK, like so I can't make pasta, but I kind of never really want to make pasta anyway.
Yeah.
I've got a frying pan and that's great.
I don't make pasta often.
It's one of those things that people talk about as a university staple food, but at the same time, it's kind of like I started shopping at a different supermarket, so I get like frozen meals for like £1 each, which is a really good deal. But I don't really feel
Well,
that.
me, I have a rice cooker, and that's
Oh, me
I
too.
guess my staple.
That's I like every time I'm in in a friend of mine's flat, like on the university campus.
Yeah,
Always there is if there's a Chinese student in the flat, they've always got a rice cooker. That's just how it is.
it is basically how it is. Yeah.
Like after a year and a half here, I bought a second rice cooker so that I could upgrade and cook twice as much rice. That's how big rice is. It's the staple food. Plus you can get
It is.
like 10, it's really cheap as well, like 10 kilograms for £9, which is like I don't know what the USD to pound conversion rate is. That's 11.8 US dollars for 10 kilograms of rice. That's pretty good.
Mm, that's pretty good.
Especially considering like 10 kilograms of rice is going to last you a while, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so you're talking about driving, right? So you go to the United States, you do some refreshers, then what?
So speaking of the point of having to adjust, like there was one time during a lesson that like I was so it was a red light and at an intersection. So basically you have to um certain parts of the intersection get to move first depending on how that's just how the light system works. But basically I was trying to it was the red turned green and I was trying to turn left, but I I started turning towards the wrong side because I my mind was so accustomed to um, basically being on the left side of the partition. So if you're right-hand drive in the UK or Hong Kong, then you end up going into that lane. So I started swerving into that lane, and then halfway through, I realized, oh God, I'm in the wrong lane.
Oh
I'm
no.
tending towards the wrong lane. So I quickly swerved back, and luckily I managed to do so in time. That would have been pretty bad.
So have you
So that's one of the stories I have about um,
have you taken your
the
test yet?
process. So yeah, so I think it was so I did lessons for maybe 2 to 3 months, and then about 10 in total, I think. And then I actually took my test in I believe April or May of my first year of uni. So my first year of uni was almost up. So that was roughly when I took it. I actually did not pass the first time. They marked me off for a dangerous maneuver or something. It was
Oh,
one of those. Yeah, it was one of those another intersection. Like the intersections here are kind of confusing at times because you got to like look at not just the left and right, but also the center, because people from cars from the center lane, like opposite you, basically as you're going forward, can suddenly turn left on you. So you have to be very wary of that.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I when I
so
turned when I turned 18, I applied for the um what is it? The learner's permit in order
yeah,
to be able to take lessons, which is, I mean, you literally just you turn up to an office and you say like, "Hey, I'm 18 years old. Here is proof of my age. Can you please give me this tiny green piece of laminated paper to show?"
yeah, that's exactly what I did as well. I got my
So
learner's permit.
so I did.
Yeah,
I booked in a couple lessons, and then like it was uh I tried to book in a slot to get the driving test,
yeah,
but then they told me that I was going to have to wait. So I turned 18 in December of 2023. No, 2022. Yeah, 2022. I turned 18 in December, I think.
yes, yes.
Uh, yeah. Then they wanted me to wait 14 months for the next available appointment to
Just over
actually
a
get a
year.
test.
Yeah.
I mean, 14 months is kind of, considering it's a. I mean, in Hong, what's the. I mean, what's the population of Hong Kong now? Like 8 million people.
7.5 million, something like that. Yeah.
And like, how many of those people can be 7.5 million people? How
Yeah.
many of those people can be in the younger age range that they are actually trying to take their driving test?
Yeah.
You know, there can't be that much of a backlog that it's for. I guess it was after COVID and everything, and if there's anywhere in the world that really messed up everything in COVID by just
Yeah.
shutting down constantly, it was Hong Kong. I mean, I remember we had to start wearing masks in like February of 2020, something like that,
February 2020. Yeah, sounds right.
and then
And then
we only got
back in
out of it like the year we graduated.
yeah, so yeah, 3 years it lasted pretty much.
Yeah, 3 years of masks.
Yeah,
So
that wasn't great.
not fun. But even with a backlog, how much of a backlog can there be that you're making people wait 14 entire months?
I think it's more. I think they're doing so more so deliberately. I hear they're they're like not discouraging people to like they essentially don't want you to get your license and have like more cars on the road because there's already like traffic problems
I,
everywhere.
I
I don't know.
can,
That's why.
I guess I can see
Yeah.
that being the case, all things considered. I mean, because
Not that they have an actual backlog that they physically can't like schedule you in earlier or something.
yeah, I mean to be fair, we do have like in Hong Kong we have some of the best public transportation.
Public transport, yeah, yeah,
So I
public
mean, it's a
transport.
hell of a lot better here than it's a hell of a lot better back home than than it is here in the UK. Um,
Yeah, and definitely compared to here in the US as well.
do you even have like in Los Angeles? I know it's like the is it? I know America generally has the reputation of it being pretty bad, especially well, but the East Coast is normally the better one, right, for public transport. How do
The
you?
East Coast, yeah, is the better one.
Because that stuff was all built like those cities like Washington D.C., New York. Those were all built before cars, compared to Los
Yes.
Angeles, which is you can clearly see like when the blocks are wider and everything's much more spaced out compared to a city like New York.
So my first time actually visiting the US was in Boston several years ago. And I remember the public transport there was pretty good. Like there's a train system, there's cabs obviously. So, but like here there is like in California there is a train system or a bunch of them, but they're not as fully fleshed out and like depending on where you are it can still be quite like inconvenient to use it. So it's sometimes it's depending where you are. Like from where I am, it's not really feasible to use that train system that goes up to LA. You have to go to the nearest station, which would require an Uber or a cab or something, which would kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah,
And
I mean
I guess
out here we have both the trains and the buses. The buses are expensive, and the trains are also expensive. Like when I was in Germany, I was there for 3 weeks, and you are able to get for 52 euros, I think the cost was. For 52 euros, you can get an entire month of public transport usage. Compared to in the UK, there's nothing like that. You can get
Yeah.
a rail card, which is either £35 for 1 year or 60 for an entire 3 year period, which gets you one third off of rail travel. But even then, rail travel is crazy. It costs so much to do anything. Like one of my flatmates go regularly goes to Leeds, which is a town in sort of the central area
Yeah, I know.
of England, and that's costing him like I think something like £60 return from Brighton, which is really not even that. Like, it's not that. Oh no, actually, Leeds is further north than I expected. But we're talking about 4 or maybe 5 hours by
Yeah,
train. Um,
that's right.
normally, not 4.5 hours by train, and that's costing him like £60, which is crazy. In
That,
and
yeah,
and you're not even getting that good of an experience there.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
in
so what
but
I have to say is that I guess here like public transport does exist, is just not very good. Like there is a bus system as well. It's called the Orange County bus, which is basically the you have Los Angeles County right above it, and then below it is Orange County, where my campus, the town that my campus is part of, is part of that county. And so that the bus that there's a bus that does run, but it only goes to certain places. So it's more of a land problem. They have a lot of land, so it's hard to cover all places and satisfy all residents.
are they at least
I guess
like
that's
affordable and on time?
mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like luckily for me, there's also a bus system for just my college campus only. So that and they're usually very on time, and it's helpful to get to places because our campus is 1,500 acres in total, so that's quite a lot of land space. To get from one end of campus to the other might take you like an hour to actually walk that. So it's nice. It's convenient to have. Since last year, I was living technically on campus, but it was literally right at the edge of the campus boundaries. So getting to class from where I lived was kind of annoying to walk. It probably took like 25 to half an hour. I actually tried that for the first few days of going to class. Then I started taking the bus, and I was like, I'm not walking ever again.
Yeah. I mean, but I imagine you don't have to, with America and the whole college town phenomenon. You probably don't have to go into the main parts of Los Angeles or like
No,
Anaheim that
no,
often, right?
not that. Yeah, not that.
So what run us through like your standard. What's your schedule like? What do you study, for instance?
Okay, so I'm studying material science, and I guess
And
my
what is that?
so it's a branch of engineering. It's primarily it's a mix of, I guess, it's quite heavily focused on chemistry, but it does bring in other disciplines as well. It's very interdisciplinary, I'd say. Brings in math, physics, biology sometimes. It kind of it's a more it's kind of a more supporting branch of engineering. So I guess it's concerned with the research of how certain materials behave under certain conditions, like how can I fine tune various materials to improve their performance for various applications, like in cars, for example, or in airplanes, etc. So it's more they material scientists work with various other engineers in um, various other fields. So they're less so a standalone kind of branch, but more so focus on supporting the entire branch of the entire field of engineering as a whole.
Okay, and how intense is that? And it's a 4 year program, right?
It's a 4 year program, yeah.
How intense is that, both in your first couple of years and how are you finding it now?
So I guess my the first year of coursework was was really light, in my opinion. Just having just graduated from the IB diploma program, it was in fact easier than my last year in secondary school. Um, for me personally, I just feel that is because like compared to the UK, like most undergraduate programs are 3 years long compared to 4 years. So the first year here in most undergrad programs in America are more so focused on getting everyone's knowledge like standardized because I'm sure like there's people from many states kind of go to unis all over the country. So they kind of have to just get everyone on par to the same level before. I guess the second year of the 4 year program here is more so the equivalent of the first year in the UK. So basically, they it would make sense that they graduate around the same level, like knowledge wise. So the first year here, I guess, is akin to the a foundation year if you
Yeah,
do that in the UK.
yeah.
So
Out here, I mean, we do get a lot of people from different places, but the sort of general, even though, like, I mean, within the UK, there's different education systems, but that doesn't play as much. I know Scotland has its own thing compared to England, but then Scottish university students tend not to go to England very much because they can stay in Scotland and have free university. So Scottish students have that. So, and I mean, there's good universities in Scotland, so there's really no need to come all the way down to
yes, yes,
to England for that. But then there is foundation years pretty much only exist for like if when you get your offer, if you really miss it by like a large enough margin that the university is worried that you're not necessarily at the standard required for the
understand. Yeah,
course, then they'll offer you a foundation year because they still want to keep you around anyway because they like money.
yeah,
It's better to have this person and make them do an extra year in order to make sure that they're at least competent than it is to turn them away and lose out on for a domestic student like over the course of 3 years in a foundation like maybe £30,000 in fees, which is
yeah.
a lot.
Wait.
Yeah. So then do you get much free time now that your course is sort of ramping up, or you got time for interests?
So um, I guess my first year I had quite a bit of free time. I did a bit of so over the summer I started doing a lot of cardio, like running on the treadmill, trying to improve my stamina, endurance, that sort of thing. So my first year of uni, I really challenged myself. I joined the cross country team. I didn't
Oh,
actually compete in any of the races or stuff, but I tried my best to keep up with training with the team, and it was really intense. It was really hard to keep up at times. So I was when people were doing their when we had our practices, which were about a few times a week, I tended to join like 2 to 3 times per week, and it was I like they've been training since secondary, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah.
they have a lot of experience with that. I barely had much. So I started when I first started, it was I got gassed out really quickly and I started lagging behind at the very back of the group. So it was a worthwhile experience, I'd say, but it was rather tough. But overall, I'm glad that it has helped me. I've noticed that my stamina has improved since then. So and that's probably um, owing to I trained for about 3 months with them. So that's about speaking of, I think it's important to mention that my my uni, like their calendar, um, their calendar is kind of split differently to most UK and US universities. In fact, so most US universities run on a semester system, which is probably more similar to the UK style, where they have 2 terms and then summer. For us, they split the calendar into quarters.
Oh,
So they have autumn, which they call fall, and then um, winter, spring, and summer. So the summer quarter, there's people can take summer classes then, but that's more of the summer holiday for everyone. And so our coursework's kind of scheduled into 3 academic quarters, and
Okay.
so right now we're the first of the three. So each of them lasts about 3 months.
Oh, that's. I mean, I know a mutual friend of ours from back home. He used his summer quarter recently to go do an exchange term in Germany
Yeah.
because he didn't want to miss out on the because he's in his university's rugby team, and he
Rugby
didn't
team.
want to miss any games by doing an exchange year in one of the normal 3 academic quarters. So he did it over the summer. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
sports in American universities are taken a lot more seriously than they are here. Um,
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
like I tried out for my university football team in my first year without realizing it would be as popular as it was. I turned up and I found out that there were over 350 people all at the tryouts, which
350.
yeah, and they
That's a lot.
only like took 4 people because they already
4 people.
they took like 4 people out of 350, which is crazy.
So
But
you have to be top of the top to
yeah,
actually make the team.
like one and like last year, I had a friend of mine tried out, so I watched, and he was an actual professional player. Like he's plays youth football at the international level, and then he dropped out of university a month later to go actually sign for a professional team. But they were making him not necessarily look that good. You know, like these are some tough opponents up against. But then last year I was on the university squash team.
Squash team. Nice.
Yeah, but that's gone now. That doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
They shut it down because
I
they
did this
they bulldozed they replaced the squash courts with an
uh,
extension for the gym.
for the gym. Okay.
Yeah. Do you do much
But
sports
you
then other
enjoyed
than
that
sorry?
playing squash? You enjoyed that?
Yeah, yeah. It was fun. I didn't get to do as much as I wanted to because the training session they had 2 training sessions. Well, they had one training session for the team and one social session that like anybody could turn up to.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, both of those 2 sessions happened to be on the days like they had like it would be like a Monday evening from like 6 to 7, or and then like the other one would be on like a Thursday afternoon. But I happened to have class in both spots, so I just couldn't go.
Yeah.
So I was like on the team as like the last choice guy because they just never actually saw like they saw me at tryouts enough to say like, yep, like you're good enough to make it with us, but not necessarily on the first choice roster. But if you
First
come to
roster.
the training and improve, then we can give you more game time. Then I just couldn't turn up to training. So I only went to one game, which was an away game in Guildford, which is it's a nice place. You know, they've got a nice cathedral, but other than that, there's really not much going on. And then I nearly went to another game, which I'm thankful I didn't do. It was a couple weeks later. It was an away game somewhere else. I can't even remember where. But the team that we sent never actually made it to the game. They were given train tickets instead of like a bus. But the train tickets were like the cheapest ones available, so they were not able to take the train directly up to London and then from there get a train somewhere else. They had to
Yeah.
go via they had to go west via like Southampton or Portsmouth or something like
Okay.
that. And what ended up happening was I think they spent 9 hours that day on trains. They never made it to where they were going.
Hours.
9 hours. They left in the morning at 9 a.m. and they didn't get back until it was like 5:30. And the game just got cancelled because they weren't able to turn up
Fuck.
because they got on the first train and then it got cancelled halfway through, and then they had to like wait an hour for a different train, and it just turned into a complete nightmare for them. They just spent an entire day and doing a really
Just
extensive tour of British public
yeah.
transport services, which isn't really something anybody ever wants to do.
That must have sucked.
Yeah. But other than your stint with the cross country team, what else do you get up to?
Well, besides that, um, I was part of there was a club relating to people from my major, so it was called the Material Science Club, and I was my first year um went to meetings often as well, but that was more related to more academic related, you can say. besides I just remembered besides cross country, I did bunch of table tennis as well for about half a year. Ping pong, that was fun. And I didn't really try out for the team, but I also showed up to practices just to improve my overall game. I enjoyed that.
Okay. And then outside of your university, I know you've picked up an interest in hockey since moving to the United States.
Yeah, I saw it.
How
Exactly.
do you end up going from a place like Hong Kong where hockey's just not really a thing? It's
It's not really a thing.
it's
Yeah.
I think I can name one ice rink I've heard of total. I think they built a new one recently, um, as part of a big
There's a bunch of ice rinks, but I'm sure like that's just for general like
yeah.
interest in skating. Not really.
Like I'm not
Like
aware of any professional or even like high school.
I
High school teams don't do it. Like I've there is baseball at some schools, but not hockey at all. So how do you go from not really knowing about hockey at all to moving to the United States and becoming a big hockey guy? How does that happen?
So I think a big part of that has to do with my roommate. My so compared to the UK, like I'm pretty sure most universities here in the US they encourage people to share a living space for at least their first year. So basically, I shared a room with one other person my first year, and luckily, um, my second and third, they had different living arrangements for us, and we had our own private bedrooms and bathrooms, which I really liked. But going back to the point about hockey, my roommate was my roommate's a really big hockey fan because he started playing the sport. Well, his dad kind of got him into it, but he started playing the sport, I think in year five. So he was about, I guess, 9 or 10. Then he played throughout. Yeah, he just played all throughout the years, and our first year of uni, he I saw his equipment all the time. He played for the team a bunch, which was I'm sure was nice, and so he just started. I guess that was a major influence, but there's also my roommate's from the Bay Area in Northern California, which is near San Jose, um, and they have a team there called the San Jose Sharks, and so that's the team he supports. But then there's also a team nearby um, our college campus, which are the Anaheim Ducks, which is Anaheim's where Disneyland is as well, coincidentally.
I mean, they
Um,
named the Anaheim Ducks are named after the Disney movie, aren't they?
yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah,
Mighty Ducks.
the Mighty Ducks. Yeah, yeah.
So do you go to a lot of games then?
Yeah. So my first year, I basically I went to I think 4 games total, and they were all with him. And so the first few games I was still trying to learn the rules and stuff, which are um like on a fundamental level, like the rules are like quite similar to football, which I had some experience with before. But I mean, there's obviously a lot of nuances that are new and specific only to the sport of hockey. So yeah, so I guess the first few games was kind of learning the rules, and I remember because he's a Sharks fan, the Sharks were in town to play the Ducks a few times, and we went to both of those matchups, and the Ducks ended up winning both of them. And I remember there was one match where um, it was we just had it was a great experience because we just had a major comeback win against the Sharks, and from that moment forward, I knew I would start supporting the Ducks. They were my team. And
Nice,
so the following year, we went to 12 games total, which basically 3 times more than the previous year. And that
nice.
was, yeah, and that I really enjoyed each one, even though to mention that, I should mention that the Ducks were in the middle of a rebuild. So we've been crap the previous, I mean, up till now, we've been really bad. Like 7 years running, we've missed the playoffs 7 straight. And so this year it's starting to look better, although they're in the middle of a 3 game losing streak. But I think I've got hope this season.
Nice.
that.
I live next to the well, my university campus out here is right next to the stadium of Brighton and Hove Albion Football Club.
Yes.
Um, but you'd be forgiven for not remembering it when you live here because it's very quiet, so to speak. It's unfortunately the English fans have gone downhill a lot in terms of like
That's what I've heard as well.
atmosphere. I've been to a couple of their games. I went to one in my first year against Burnley, and the Burnley fans were louder. And then I went to one last year, and I was in the away end when Tottenham were playing, and the Tottenham fans were louder. But in general, it's a weird phenomenon here in the UK with the English football clubs. The away fans are always the louder ones. I've been to 5 games total, in well 5 professional games, and every single time it's the away fans that are better.
Hmm.
Do you get much atmosphere at all in the American sports leagues?
Well, I can really only speak for the hockey games I've been to because that's the main sport I watch currently. Um, I guess because I mean the atmosphere overall is decent, I'd say, not top notch yet because the issue I guess is that the we don't really get full attendance most of the time just because um our team's not doing great recently and I guess compared like North America compared to the UK, sports wise, they don't tend to have separate sections um for away fans versus home fans. It's the majority's home fans. So away fans can just casually pop up everywhere throughout the stadium, and that wouldn't be an issue.
When you have a game in Hong Kong?
Yes,
Like we
yes,
both we
exactly.
both went to Arsenal versus Tottenham, which was a fun time.
It was a fun time. It was a
One
great
one
match.
nil win for Spurs, thankfully. But in that one, like as much as they tried to segregate fans, like they had one end, they had the sections behind the goals on each end were dedicated, one for Arsenal fans, one for Tottenham fans, and everything else was mixed seating. But even in
Yeah,
the Tottenham section, there were a lot of just random Arsenal fans dispersed throughout.
yeah. The row behind me, there were a bunch of Arsenal supporters,
Yeah,
which I didn't get.
yeah,
I mean, on TV, like people who are watching the broadcast, I mean, overall they could see like a sea of white, but I mean, you could see a bit of red mixed in to it.
yeah.
I remember during the game, I was with my brother, and I was pointing at the sort of general area that you guys were sitting, you and your mum,
Yeah.
and um, I was just saying because our I feel like our section had way more Arsenal than you guys did. Just I guess might have been the case. I'm not sure, but you were there still a bunch of Arsenal supporters in your end as well?
There were a few behind me and a few in front of me. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I
I feel
think it,
like it
I
was
think it was
more
more the case of like one person who was a Tottenham fan had a couple Arsenal fan friends, and they were the
friends. Yeah,
one. Then the Tottenham fan was the one who was actually able to buy tickets because getting tickets was tough.
it was tough.
I mean, to be first North London derby hosted outside of and that's a big for those of you who don't follow football. That's a big game. Um, it's a grudge match. First one to ever be played outside of the United Kingdom. So there will
Yeah, it was
and
a start.
both of those particular fan bases are very big in Asia. I mean, Tottenham at the time, but now I have to say we used to have the most famous Asian footballer of all time. So Tottenham has a significant fan base in Asia. Arsenal normally is more actually in Africa and the Caribbean. I've noticed. Um, but
But
because
I feel
they're
like
but because they're
becoming
being more
more
successful now, then they have more of a.
popular.
Sorry.
Yeah, I feel like Arsenal are becoming a more popular club in throughout Asia. That's what I've noticed. Just coming back to going back home to Hong Kong like over holidays, I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
young kids, especially
Yeah. I mean, how often do you go back to Hong Kong? Twice a year, right?
twice a year. Yeah,
Must
Christmas and summer.
must be nice to be home because it's. I mean, as much as it's normal. You go away for university. It's crazy that both of us have gone from the place that we've known our entire lives to
Yeah.
not even completely different countries, but completely different continents.
Yeah. I
Uh,
know.
so that, I mean, that's a hell of an adjustment. How
It
did
is.
you find it?
So like I'm definitely grateful that my parents accompanied me on my first trip here. Um, I guess moving in to um, I they were here for about a week and a half to two, so we kind of I had my orientation sort of akin to like Freshers Week for those in the UK. So we had our orientation week here, getting used to signing up for stuff, getting used to the system here, signing up for classes, stuff like that, and officially moving into our dorms, our living spaces. And so I remember the night they flew back home to Hong Kong. I it wasn't a nice feeling per se, but it was of course a necessary part of growing up. I definitely knew that, but it took a while to. My first year especially, I was homesick a bunch. It wasn't too bad overall, but I do remember there were times where I needed kind of a friend or a bunch of friends to get me through that. Luckily, with technology now, I was able to phone my parents back home on video call.
Yeah. Of course,
Like
you've got to take into account the time difference there. You don't want to call them at 5 p.m. your time and then suddenly it's. Or actually, no, that's
it's
the other
the
way around. 5 p.m. your time is pretty good for them.
5 p.m.
What is the time
Yeah.
difference between California and Hong Kong?
Well, it's they have daylight savings for a good chunk of the year here, where where it'd be a 15-hour time difference between California and Hong Kong. Well, daylight savings just ended a couple weeks ago, which means that it's the they the gap the time difference becomes is currently 16. So 5 p.m. here, local time would be 9 a.m., 9 o'clock in the morning for them,
Oh,
for my
okay.
parents.
I mean, we have
Yeah,
daylight savings in the UK, and I don't like daylight savings. I think it's a bit. I can understand sort of the reasoning behind it, but it just comes up. Why not just permanently move the clock forward half an hour? Isn't that
yeah,
isn't that the best? But now that we don't have daylight savings anymore, very very quickly noticed. Um, like nowadays, it gets dark. We're starting to see it get dark at like maybe 3:30 p.m. out here,
wow.
which is it's depressing. You know, like if you happen to wake up late one morning, you've got only a few hours of sunlight. Like by 4 p.m. or by 4:30, like when it gets to like early December, it'll be dark at about 4:15, just
Yeah,
completely pitch black,
yeah.
and it's just
Similar for us, it starts to get dark four-ish, and I guess actual sunset is about 5 p.m.
yeah.
But like it's not even like the deepest parts of winter yet. So I've like the sun would set at 4:30, 4:45 for sure
Damn.
when it gets to that.
I don't. Thankfully, I don't.
It's,
I'm yet to have to spend a full actual winter in the UK because I go home. You know,
yeah,
as
yeah.
soon as
I,
soon
I
as I as soon as I stop having classes, I'm on the first plane out of this place. Because it is just a you get to see family, you get to see friends, especially over the festive season of like December,
yeah, the festival.
January. You get it's all Christmassy and everything.
Yeah, I feel like the Christmas kind of period in Hong Kong is especially nice. It's a good time to visit for if you've never been to Hong Kong before. I'd personally recommend
Yeah,
coming around Christmas time. It's
I
definitely
mean,
nice.
don't if you're going to come to Hong Kong, do not go if you're trying to experience the city, don't go around August because that's when is it that we have like all of the rain.
Uh, yeah, August is not a good time.
August
It
is not
is it
fun.
yeah, it's right in the middle of rainy season, which I think is about April to October. But August, July, August is when it yeah hits pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean here in the UK, the rainy season is sort of every season. Unfortunately, it's the weather here is just generally bad. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I hear.
It'll be around 10 degree. I think it. What I wonder what even temperature it is right now. It's 8 degrees where I'm at. Um, it's oh no, it's about to become 7 degrees. Well, oh no, it says it's 8 degrees, but it feels like four, which is just a lovely sentence to read, you know. And
Yeah,
then I'm looking at it. Oh, we might get snow on Wednesday. That's one thing that like if I was that's the only thing I think I miss by going home for Christmas is snow.
yeah.
Do you guys get snow in California or?
Um, the part of town I'm in, we do not get snow, but I think certain parts of California do get snow where they have places where you can ski and stuff, but those are probably at much higher altitudes, so like
Yeah,
more mountainous regions. Those they, there are parts of California that do snow. Is what I'm trying to say.
yeah. I've seen since moving to the UK. This is my third year here. Since moving here, I have seen snow once.
Hmm?
And that was a funny story. So I was up all night to do an essay, right? And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to go to bed. I'm just going to stay up until like 7, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. to sort of reset my sleep schedule, right? And so that I can be back on a normal circadian rhythm, I think they call it.
Yes,
But
you can. Yeah,
in general, I just keep my curtains closed, you know,
yeah,
and I was so locked in doing my essay, and then afterwards I was so sort of tired that I just started watching Netflix, right? Couple hours later, maybe a few hours later, I think about 1 p.m., I had to go to a seminar. So I get up,
okay,
I step into the corridor, and I just see, and I look down the right hand side from where my room is, and there's a window, and I see it looks really white outside. I'm like, what,
yeah.
serious? Like, I wasn't expecting this, right? So I rush down into the kitchen, look outside, snow. And by this point, a lot of it has melted already, and there's like people clearing a lot of it out, and I'm like, oh my god. So I run, I go to my seminar. As soon as my seminar's finished, all of the snow is done. It's all gone.
Uh,
Except I happen to see one in a building next door where they have like one weird sitting out area. There happened to be uh, a, a a not insignificant patch of snow. So I
uh,
called a friend of mine that lived in the building across from it, and we had a snowball fight,
Civil thing.
which is really really cool. You know, I can't remember how many times I've seen snow in my life, but it's not many. Because like neither of us get snow in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah, yeah. We don't.
And then we wouldn't have really seen it at all
The
at
last time
university.
I saw snow was probably South Korea. The
Oh,
last time I was there, that was a few years ago as well. It's been quite a while
I've,
as well
I've been
since
to
I've
South
been.
Korea as well. It's a nice place.
It's a nice place.
Like I like how in Seoul when
It is
you
very cold in the winter, which took some adjusting. I had to wear. I guess growing up in Hong Kong, I'm not terribly used to cold weathers.
yeah.
I guess you could say. So going there, I just had to wear like several thick layers. I guess that sort of helped.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, for me, I pretty much exclusively wear shorts, and then that was sort of beaten out of me by the grim reality that is British winter and even British autumn. Like I've had to start wearing jeans a lot, and it's not fun. As soon as I like see the first day, like I cling on to shorts season a lot.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like even now I'm wearing shorts, which was a mistake, very much a mistake. The walk down from where I live to the studio, by the end of it, my legs were completely blue. You know, it was not the best
Yeah,
call on my part.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm currently wearing shorts as well, but I guess it's
I mean you're at
10
home,
degrees
you know.
here.
So
It's 17 degrees currently. Yes.
and so you still live on your university campus, right? But in like a different sort of area.
Different sort of area. Yeah.
So
It's
how does that work?
so it's so the area we live in right now is called the University Center area, which is basically where all the restaurants, shops are, supermarkets, etc. So it's a part of campus where a lot of students kind of hang out and chill, I guess. Um, After classes and stuff.
You're tuned into the sound of URF radio.
Overall, plus the water classes is shorter compared to last year. It takes maybe 12 to 15 minutes to get to class from where I am right now. So I no longer have to take the bus to get to my class, which I find really nice.
So
And
is it normal for? Because I know your campus is a lot larger, so there's a much larger supply of housing on the campus. But
yes, yes.
is it norm? Is it considered normal for somebody to stay on campus like past their first year of university?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so. It's there's besides the university center homes, there's where I stayed my second year, which was that area. There's also a bunch of because basically, um, UCI students are guaranteed housing for their first 2 years. So the first year would be dorms and sharing rooms with other people, but then second year there's a separate application you can do where it kind of you're guaranteed a flat to live in that's on the east end of campus.
Yeah,
And
because
then and the third and fourth year you're basically on your own. You have to deal with that yourselves.
okay, because you did mention earlier that they sort of want you to have a roommate in your first year to sort of like
Yeah,
I
in your
guess
first
getting great. But that must be weird, right? Because you're sharing like because you're so within your room. So you had a room with one other person, right?
with one other person.
And bathrooms like shared for your floor or something.
For Yeah, so I think the building we were in had 3 floors, and so we were on the ground floor, which they call the first floor, which I find kind of weird. Um, but their bathrooms, yeah, there are a bunch of bathrooms on that floor, but there's basically for our dorm. I'm not sure if that was the case for everyone, but there there were bathrooms. There was a like a suite of rooms for that were all girls, and there were an all guys end as well. And so the bathrooms we shared tended to be just for the all guys wing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but like just share having to like because in the UK you've got well at my university at least you have ensuite one rooms which is um which are you have your own bed, you have your desk, and then you have your own bathroom that's inside your room. So you've got your own shower, you've got your own toilet.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
there's a cheaper option which is shared toilet ones, where you have your room and you get a sink in your room most of the time. I think you get a
Okay.
sink in your room, but you have to share bathrooms with the rest of your flat, and depending on the different accommodation that you end up in. Like there are some where it's one bathroom for 5 people. There are some where it's one between three or four. There's some where it's like one, two between six, something like that. But even then, you have your like regardless of if you're because no matter what you're gonna share a kitchen, right? You're sharing your
Yeah.
kitchen, your shit
Uh,
like, and sometimes you're sharing your toilet. But no matter what, you have your room, you have your bed.
yeah.
It just seems like the fact that you don't have any sort of private personal space.
Other personal
That must
space.
be weird. Does that not get annoying? Like, let's say your roommate wants to like go out at night. You know, they might like wake you up when they're coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I
I've
mean,
got
I guess it's just kind of the norm here, where I'm not sure what the purpose of it is. I guess it's to encourage, I don't know, relationship building. I don't know, getting along with, being able to live with someone else in a shared space. I don't really understand the purpose of it, but those are some things I guess I can think about. And um, yeah, I mean, it was an interesting experience to say the least. Um, one of the complaints I had was that I didn't really have a private personal space when I needed it. But I mean, I'm just glad that we're past that stage and I have my own private bedroom and bathroom now, which I like having gone through that and living where I am in being in the living arrangements I am currently in. I couldn't. Yeah, I just find it hard to go back to how things were back in first year.
Yeah. So and then for what's your kitchen situation like? I know you've gotten big into cooking, right? Or
Um,
like steaks at least,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, steaks. Yeah, yeah. I cook that very often.
So
So
what's
and,
cooking like in those apartments, those flats?
well, the kitchen is just shared. Well, I'm currently living with the same person I did my first year. My roommate then is my flatmate now. I guess you could say. We're on the third floor of three floors um in a so the building we're in right now. Where so I'm just sharing with him. It's a two-bedroom kind of living space, and the kitchen's just shared between the two of us. So uh, I mean he doesn't cook. He cooks maybe around the same frequency that I do, which is maybe twice a week, 2 to 3 times a week, something like that. So um, yeah, I guess my go to because the supermarket's so close. It's like a 3 minute walk from here. You're literally at the door. You go down the stairs and it's literally right in front of you. So I just find that really nice. I just hop over and get a nice cut of steak, ribeye probably, and
Nice.
then yeah, ribeye most of the time, and then I just cook it on the stove here.
Is that really like the university supermarket that you have? Is that like a normal one, or is it a more expensive? Because we have one supermarket on our university campus, and it's like notoriously expensive.
Well, it's uh it's a Trader Joe's supermarket, so um
Oh, that's
I guess
like
I'm pretty.
that's Trader Joe's is the version or is the American version of I think Aldi, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and Aldi is like that's the student go to because it's cheap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Trader Joe's is cheaper than most other supermarket chains, I'd say.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty sure the prices are. It's not um pricier here compared to other branches, but I believe prices are standardized across most Trader Joe's locations.
that's good. That's good. I mean, there's a on from with my university. There's a whole Instagram account dedicated to hating on our university supermarket,
Wow.
but they are not active anymore. Um, I mean, there's a lot of weird Instagram accounts at my university. We have a confessions page which is like I mean we used to have one at high school, but
Yeah, yeah,
the
we have.
ones that we get on this university one are just it's messed up. It's messed up.
Okay.
Like the at our university recently we had both the field hockey team, well the Met for the men's at least, the field hockey team and the rugby team got suspended by the university for I think 2 years, maybe 3 years.
Oh wow.
So we don't have rugby or hockey anymore because they both were apparently well from what I don't know if I'm allowed to say what I heard because that might be like hearsay. But
Yeah,
they
I
were
get
it was the standard like for one of them at least it was the sort of well actually maybe for both it was like hazing gone wrong, you
it.
know,
Okay, okay.
which is a lot more of an issue in the United States, I guess, than it is here with like frat culture.
Yeah.
Over here, there's nothing like that, and the university societies are normally tame, except for the particular reputation that people who do rugby have,
Okay.
which which is not the best reputation. Uh, but normally it's that we don't have issues like that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, we're into our last 45 seconds of the show, so it's been good to have you on. What would you like to say to the people, Warren? What would you like to say to the millions, if not billions, of people that are currently tuned in right now all across the world?
Well, I'd say well, I would personally because sports is such a big part of my life, I'd just find this a good time to personally recommend if you're looking to a new sport to try out or to try and watch. I would personally recommend ice hockey. I think it's great.
Okay,
I think it's worth checking out.
Cool. I've watched some hockey out here in the UK because I've got a lot of Canadian friends. But
Yeah.
that's our time. So thank you very much for coming
Yeah.
on.